What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Thrive Forever Fit Show. As you know, we are in the middle of 12 days of gratitude. And so today's episode is just that. It is another gratitudinal episode. Today, I have got Marissa on. Marissa is my personal assistant. She's the one that makes some of the wheels go around and around on the bus. She's responsible for a lot of the graphics and a lot of the behind the scenes work that happens with the entire Thrive Forever Fit program, podcast, etc. And so today you are going to meet Marissa, who I am extremely grateful for, because as I said, none of this would be possible without her hard work, commitment, and dedication. Here we go. Enjoy the show. All right. What's going on?
Hello.
Is this your first time is this the first time you've ever been on a podcast?
Yeah, first time ever.
First time, long time.
First time.
All right. So as you guys heard in the intro, and you know what this is 12 Days of Gratitude. Marissa is my assistant. She's responsible for a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on, all the graphics, the YouTube channel, the blog. She handles all of the technical and the graphical and things like that. She's also works at the studio. So she does a lot for the business. And so obviously, whenever I was thinking about the 11 people that I had to have on the show, 12 Days of Gratitude, she was obviously one of them. None of this would be possible without all of her hard work and commitment and dedication. And so welcome to the Thrive Forever Fit Show podcast that you listen to every episode, do all the editing. So it's about time that you're finally, it only took you 120 episodes.
120 episodes later, I made it.
and there's the lesson. Don't give up. Keep showing up, even if it takes 120 episodes to get on the show.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's kick it off. I just gave you the shout outs. Why you're on the show. Obviously, none of this would be possible. Even the 12 Days of Gratitude, Marissa's instrumental in making it all happen, get it all published and everything. Crucial part of the team. We couldn't do any of this without her. So, you know the gist. You've listened to every episode that we've recorded about the 12 days so far. So, how have you found gratitude during such a chaotic external time? What's been your secret?
To be honest, I kept thinking about this too, because for me, it actually hasn't been, luckily enough, like chaotic. I wanted to take a different approach just because, luckily I've been able to be around you and Lori, and that's where my biggest gratitude is being able to be around you two, because without you two, I haven't felt chaos once, if that makes any sense. But so I'm super grateful to have that, but I always fall back to gratitude for anything, just because it's just that slight reminder of just I get to live this life. I get to have this, everything that I'm able to do with you, with the studio, with the Thrive Forever Fit program, Ignite Peeps, Wellness Lab, all those people are just, that's what I've been able to fall back onto. It's just being so grateful that I get to surround myself with people who inspire me to, when things get, quote unquote bad or anything or negative, I just know, I unlike most 26-year-olds don't have this opportunity like I do. And that's something that I always fall back onto. So I'm extremely grateful for being able to have all of it. Chaos has never been one of the words that pop up into my head. It's mainly just holy moly, I don't know, gratitude just been the word that's been popped up into my head this year. It's just like you said, since the beginning of it all, it's been an opportunity.
Yeah, and I think that's a great analogy to use, and I think that's totally appropriate, because that's authentically how you feel. And let's even expand and use this opportunity just as a little bit of a coaching position or a coaching opportunity. The power of proximity, guys, is important. It's really, really valuable in your life. And as Marissa mentioned, I'm not a very chaotic person. I don't get overwhelmed. I don't get exacerbatory of situations. I don't use grandiose language this is catastrophic or this is awful or any of those things. And Lori's a lot like me. I mean, she doesn't do that either. We're very, equanimity is a word that I use quite often. And equanimity means neither too high nor too low when it comes to like your emotional positioning. And so I'm really big on controlling your state, seeing things as they are instead of worse than they are, and then objectively looking at those things. And objectively looking at things just means looking at it with honesty and rational thought as opposed to irrational, illogical thought. And so Marissa, this is going to sound crazy to say, Marissa's lucky in the fact that the people that she spends the most time with, me as her coach and her mentor, and also someone that, I mean, listen, she's been forced to listen to 120 episodes of me do this show. She has to listen to every single training call that I do. And so she doesn't have any choice really. I mean, it's really just been beaten into her head because part of her job is that's what she does. And so she kind of gets the double-edged sword of, I get to listen to this because it's valuable and I'm getting coaching and mentoring, but also it's, part of my job. And so it's like, she gets the best of both worlds when it comes to that. And so I think when she says most 26-year-olds don't get that opportunity, it's because of that. And so if you're 26 or 36 and you're listening and you feel like you don't have that kind of person or that kind of support in your life, I would encourage you to seek that out because it is a game changer. And I'll tell you from my position in knowing Marissa as a 26-year-old, knowing her as a 23-year-old, 22-year-old, now as a 26-year-old, and knowing other 26-year-olds, she's definitely more mature because of the power of proximity. And so there's an extreme value in that. So that's a great place to be able to come from. Yeah. How have you used that? So the next question is, how has gratitude served you this year? Like, I know you said that you just keep falling back to like, it's not been chaotic for me, but how have you, like, if you think about that deeply, like, when things do get a little bit bizarre, I mean, you're 26, you have a different perspective on the world and the chaos and the situation that I do at 46 or that somebody else does at 56 or 66. How have you used gratitude as kind of like a guideline or a lighthouse for you this year?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes like gratitude's just been since I started working, with you, since I first started joining the program when you taught me like what gratitude means and everything. So it's something that I like love to use every single day. So it's still the same. It's just, something I always fall back onto, like anytime I feel like woe is me or have that like victim mentality of, when bad things happen, it's just like, okay, gotta go back to the basics. Like, what am I think? 3 things I'm thankful for immediately. Like, okay, go for it. What are you gonna do? Like, gratitude. Your life is absolutely amazing. Like, just without a doubt, I have nothing to complain about. So right then and there, it's just kind of like gratitude's always been a way for me to bounce back into a good headspace and looking back into like, yeah, just getting me back into center. Like that's how I've been able to use it this year, especially, and since the beginning, since I've been able to start practicing it. It's one of my go-tos.
I think that's super valuable, and I want to elaborate on what Marissa just said because I don't want people to think that Marissa's immune to chaos or overwhelm or the external noise because she's not, nor am I, nor are you, nor is the Dalai Lama for that matter. But what she said was very, very important, and I want to make sure we elaborate on it. When she starts to feel overwhelmed, when she starts to feel the chaos, when the noise gets too loud or louder than she knows it's supposed to be, basically what she said is that she then turns back inward and then goes into her gratitude, right? And so part of our practice in the programs that I teach is we simply write down 3 things every single day that we're thankful and grateful for. And if you listen to episode 2 with Tommy Baker, it can be what Tommy said he does is he goes down to the smallest, most simplistic things. Like a lot of times I think people think they have to go grandiose whenever things get loud. But when the external noise gets really loud, if you would just go what I consider to be like monosensory or I was going to say monogratitudinal. I don't even think that's a thing.
That's a word now.
But let's use it. Write that down.
Okay.
Marissa gets a lot of this. I say stuff and then I'm like, Write that down. That's gold. I'm going to use that later.
Yeah, we
So
have a book now.
she's probably got a notebook of shit that it's probably titled shit that Jay says. So monogratitudinal, meaning it's okay to be like really simplistic with that gratitude. And Tommy was said he goes on these trail runs and he simply just focuses on the breath that he's able to take. I mean, it's so simplistic and it seems so like, well, of course you're thankful for that. But if you really think about it and you go granular, like I'm here, man. Like I've got this ability, I've got this amazing opportunity. So when Marissa said that, that's what it triggered in my mind. And it's like, we all experience chaos. We all experience overwhelm. I don't care who you are, how equanimitous or how much equanimity you'd like to have in your life. Sometimes the noise, somebody turns the volume up on you. So instead of going outside and trying to figure out how to correct things, come back inside, control the controllables, and just get super granular on your gratitude. Yeah. All right, what are your plans? So what would you tell people as we approach the end of the year? This episode's going to air somewhere around like the 18th, 19th, 20th, right before Christmas. We're about to roll into 2021. What would you tell people out there listening? What should they do to get themselves prepared to make 2021? And I said to make 2021, whatever it is that they desire. What's your words of wisdom?
Two things.
Okay. Wow.
I have two things. Immediately two things.
I didn't know if I was going to get one thing. Sometimes I ask Marissa a question, guys, and this is what I get. And I'm like, did she hear me?
Or well, sometimes I just have to process what's being asked, and it's a thing.
And if you guys know me at all, I bring a lot of volume. Like, I mean, sometimes I'm like, write this down. Here we go. Whatever. And so I can see how it would be overwhelming, but sometimes I ask her a question and she just stares at me and I'm like, did I just lose my voice? I'm no longer able to speak. And then the fear comes over me. Okay, listen, if you got two, you got two. What do you got?
I got two. Okay, first thing is, I think going into 2021, ending 2020, people need to look back. My biggest thing is like what you're doing right now is just emphasizing on the gratitude. It's just, it's been a really like chaotic year and there's been a lot that's been thrown at people, but I think everybody can find the silver lining in what this year has actually brought to, like being able to think of it as an opportunity or like, exposing a lot of things that haven't been exposed in the past, like that, use that as like positive force going into 2021. And like, no matter how bad things can be, there's always, like you said, like there's always an opportunity. There's always a lesson to be learned. And using that as a tool into 2021, I think would be super powerful.
I like it.
And then number two is this is what I always tell people is like, I don't care what year or anything is just get yourself a coach. Like that I always say, like to tell people, or when they ask like, or when I met you or anything, I always say, I wish I met Jay 10 years ago, because I wish I could have started what I've done. And I mean, luckily I've been able to start at 22 rather than, but I wish I had all these tools in me by the time I was 15, and developing the self-confidence that I have now, and like developing like anything that has happened, I've always been able to go to someone. Like I've never felt, that's one thing that I did want to bring up too, is this year I never felt alone. And I was by myself, like physically by myself a lot of the time, especially during lockdown. Like I was by myself in the house. So besides like being a part of the program but like, being with you like virtually and whatnot, like I never, even though I was physically alone, I was never alone, because I always had somebody to go to and somebody, to help me through anything and everything. So that's one thing that I would recommend as well.
I think that's valuable information. And I think, so for you guys, as we leave this show, I want to give you a piece of advice. And so my belief system is this, that in life, if you're stuck or you have adversity or there's a challenge or there's overwhelm or there's something of that nature, it's simply an unanswered question. It's simply, there's a question you don't have the answer to. And so the reason Marissa is where she is today is because she asked a question, and your life will be predicated on the quality of the questions you ask. one day she was working out in my studio with some other of her friends. And I remember she was 22. She came up to me and she said, would you, and she had been listening to my coaching programs and things of that nature. And she said, would you be my mentor or would you mentor me? And I just paused for a second. I think I said, sure, if you do A, B, C, and D, then we'll have a discussion about it. And I said that because I mean, I can't tell you how many people ask me, will you do this? Will you do this? Will you be my coach? Will you do this? And most people aren't willing to do the prerequisite work in order to establish that relationship. And so she did A, B, C, and D, and then came back to me and said, listen, I've done all the things you said that I need to do. And then here we are. And so, you know what, if I tell somebody they're going to do 4 things, they do the 4 things, then guess what? That's why 4 years later, we are where we are today. So don't be afraid to ask the question, and no, you don't have to know what the answer is. Like when she asked that question, will you be my mentor? Will you coach me? Will you do these things? She had no idea, and I had no idea where that would lead her to, like how that would position her to have success in her life. But you simply have to ask the question. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid to ask the question. We're going to leave you with that because that's the golden nugget of this entire conversation is don't be afraid to ask the question.
I think I maybe only even said like 5 words to you at that point too.
I was pretty sure you couldn't talk.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I can't even talk now. I can't even imagine how I was at 22 when I asked you that question.
Well, the back of my mind was thinking, I didn't even know she talked. So that was first and foremost, that I was blown away. That's probably why I said yes, because I was so confused that you even talked. I'm like, what's going on? I probably would have just said, no, I'm not going to be your coach, your mentor. So you got lucky.
I
So yeah, sometimes you get lucky, guys. By ask the right question, sometimes you get lucky, and you'd rather be lucky than good. So guys, thanks for listening to the part of the 12 Days of Gratitude. Keep listening. We're going to keep bringing you awesome content. This is just getting you ready for 2021. This is going to give you momentum to propel you into the life that you deserve and desire to live. And we'll be back tomorrow with another rock star episode. Marissa, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. See you in a bit. Bye. Go back to work.
Okay, bye.